are Dwarf Warriors, both variants, any good in patch 6.2.2. One of you pointed out I didn't actually have a video out on this unit pair, and it's a good time to go into things with the current state of the tech tree and all of that. Let's dig deeper and see what makes these warriors hardy, aside from copious amounts of grog. Recruited for 450 gold and 113 upkeep, or much less than many elite units in the game, they come on an ultra unit scale with 100 entities and 7800 health between them. Armor comes at 85, with silver quality shields. This is new to recent game versions, blocking 55% of small arms fire from the front, giving them parity with dread spears at a much higher armor level. Spell resistance of 35% is just how dwarfs roll. And in this version of the game, spell resistance does not mean magical attacks get resisted and lowered in damage. It's only spells. Leadership 70 would be considered very good in most factions, but it's pretty mid among dwarfs. Speed 28 and charge speed 37 means they are not fast for a dwarf. They are Chaos Warriors level slow. Melee attack begins at an anemic and miserable 22. Attack interval 4.3 is a little slow, but not that bad. No splash damage. Melee defense begins at a fairly ridiculous 40. Weapon strength 28 is split base 21 and armor piercing 7, meaning their damage output is exactly equal to an Empire Swordsman, if and when they hit. Charge bonus of 12 isn't nothing, and mass of 150 means that chariots plow through them less than some. In fact, besides Hide and Forest, the unit has charge defense versus large, so while its offensive output doesn't improve any, cavalry hitting a brace line of dwarf shields will not prosper. The Great Weapons version is less popular, but let's take a fair look. Recruited for 500 gold and 125 upkeep. Same entities number, same health, same armor, no shields of course. Melee attack is 24, as in only 24, but still 2 better than regular. Melee defense of 30 is 10 worse. But 30 isn't exactly bad in this game. Now, what do they gain for that? Weapon strength of 32 is 4 better, split base 8, and 24 armor piercing, which is quite a lot of punch. Charge bonus of 18 is pretty high, and mass is 150 again. This variant can hide in forest and has no charge defense versus large whatsoever, something to note in the heat of battle. Bracing just increases their mass. In the redline skills, Axe Lord of course governs them, and at 3 pips provides melee attack plus 6 and melee defense plus 6. Given that the melee attack feels like skeleton warriors, then much like those, a plus 6 gain to both parts means some pretty impressive stats. At rank 7 and up, Blessed by Grugni adds plus 12 armor, plus 5 melee defense, and spell resistance plus 15%, which means they're rocking 50%, and at 50% you'll really notice it. In the tech tree, Call to Clan adds plus 4 melee defense to the shielded variant, which is just icing on the cake. Iron Readiness adds plus 4 melee attack and plus 10 armor to the shielded version only. Well, that helps a lot. A case of restraint on the multiplayer version being easy to claw back in single player. Interlocking Shields, a product of the Dwarf rework, provides the shield wall formation, and in that formation, clearly inspired by Saxon infantry pre-Norman conquest, masses times 2, so 300 instead of 150 per entity, not counting bracing benefits. Missile block chance goes up plus 20%, so 75% total, and missile resistance 10% to boot. That's for the shielded version only again. Great weapons units in fact have their own tech section entirely. Sacred Duty adds plus 4 to melee attack, so basically what I said earlier. Veteran's Pride adds plus 10% armor piercing damage and plus 10 flat charge bonus. Now, the extra AP is nice, but charge bonus 28 is getting pretty up there. That's literally doubling their ranked 0 melee attack when their techs have been combined. Iron Veterans adds charge reflection for the great weapons units. That's not useful for Dwarf Warriors great weapons by default. Among some other general technologies, Marching Songs adds plus 10% speed, which is nice. So how do we use Dwarf Warriors? If there's a way to put charge defense versus large on Dwarf Warriors great weapons, it's evading me as I write this script, so let's focus on more traditional uses. Dwarf Warriors with shields are excellent at creating and holding lines, and this includes sealing off flanks, especially against terrain features, to shut that off from cavalry having a free ride. They are absolutely not going to win with killing by themselves, especially against armored cavalry, but also just generally. Equal trading on offense is about all you can hope for. Having said that, equal trading when you have twice the armor of your enemy generally means victory, but it's just going to take a while. On the other hand, they're capable of buying a lot of time against a lot of threats, and that provides time for your missile units to do their thing. That is their main job. This is to the point a lot of people just think raid weapons are awful, but they're not awful for their price. You just need a different mindset using them. Chip damage means something different when that chip damage is armor piercing. You have to scrape and claw for every point of melee attack, absolutely, but once you're able to do so, quote-unquote even dwarf warriors' great weapons will bash armor and earn victories. They're still 85 armor. No, they're not as good in this role as White Lions or Great Swords against fellow infantry, but again, 500 gold, 125 upkeep. The real problem with them is that they can't defend themselves against cavalry charges properly, so they need the other warrior's variant or other help to do it right. Aside from that, the charge bonus gets really good, so you should really make it your objective to abuse that. Like other great weapons units in other factions, they're not there to serve as pikemen to take a charge. They're there to reinforce the front line after charges have been absorbed, and cut down pikemen and bog down cavalry. You never aim to do this instead of ranged, you do it as a complement to ranged. Breaking the enemy faster means less casualties for your frontliners. That's your objective. That said, layering great weapons over the shielded variant is like rebar with concrete. The resulting combination is stronger than either part alone. Take care and have fun repelling Bretonnians, thinking they're Norman invaders.